We are here today with County Mayor Ben McAdams, UTA President and CEO Jerry Benson, and I'm joined by some of my fellow council members, Derek Kitchen, Council Member-elect Amy Fowler, this guy, Charlie Luke, who's my vice chair for a year, and we'll also be joined by a couple other council members, Lisa Adams and Andrew Johnson, I think are going to join us. Erin Mendenhall sends her apologies. She had a conflict this morning. I just want to take a moment and say how absolutely proud I am of our Salt Lake City Council. They're an incredible group of people, and when this idea started to percolate, they were all over it, and I can't even begin to express how much I appreciate them for their support and their willingness to be innovative and creative. We've chosen this location for a couple of reasons. First, I'd like to talk just a little bit about our winter inversions and our air quality and the unhealthy air that gets trapped in our valleys. Fortunately, we have a relatively nice day. We are in an orange alert, however, so the inversions are building in the valley faster than they have in the past. And as you all recall, just a couple of weeks ago, we had some pretty nasty air quality. Those who study these things tell us that overall the air quality on the Wasatch Front seems to be improving, but that's a little consolation when you can actually taste the air. That can't be healthy. There's the fact that our smoggy inversions are unhealthy, and it's particularly dangerous for young children, for the elderly, and those for respiratory conditions. And even though our air quality is getting better and there's some things that will help improve our system in this valley, is going to be incredibly difficult to actually fix, in fact probably impossible to fix. The second thing I wanted to highlight is some of the things we can do, and that is to ride transit. We're fortunate that the Wasatch Front has one of the most comprehensive transit systems in the nation, especially for a metro area our size. It's pretty incredible what we have. Right here we are standing, for example, on the UTA's Trax Light service between the airport and downtown. It connects to Front Runner just down the ramp, connects to bus systems. Riders can actually, from this location, get pretty much anywhere they want to be in the UTA system. They can get connected to Gateway, really close to downtown. It's a really incredible asset in our community. And while we would like our buses and our transit system to run more frequently, where's Jerry? 24/7, 7 days a week. The system is actually a pretty incredible resource, and we would like to see how we can do a better job of taking advantage of this resource, in particular on our red air days. Since emissions from cars and trucks account for nearly 50% of the tiny particulates that get trapped in our air and sucked into our lungs, driving less and riding transit is a simple thing that that most of us can do if we choose to. Here, because of the unique geography of our valley, we will not be able to prevent inversions from happening, but all of us can reduce the amount of pollution that we pump into the air, and we can do our part to, in particular, prevent red air days from happening by leaving our cars at home and riding transit as much as possible. To help raise awareness about some of these common sense connections between transit and lowering the amount of junk that we have in our air, I'm very proud to announce that the Salt Lake City Council, the Salt Lake County Mayor McAdams, and UTA have joined together to underwrite the cost of using the transit system on Friday, December 22nd. This means that on Free Fare Friday, anyone and everyone can ride buses, tracks, Front Runner throughout the entire UTA system, from Brigham City to Payson and from Tooele to Park City, without paying a fare. Finding ways to increase transit service while lowering fares is part of the Salt Lake City's new transit master plan that has just been completed in coordination with UTA. And Free Fare Friday provides us with a good trial run to see how people react and what it takes to make it happen to get people on transit. So this Friday, we encourage everyone to ride transit if you can, ride front runner to work, take the bus to school, jump on tracks to come downtown, finish your holiday shopping, see the lights, go to a movie, have dinner at your favorite restaurant. It's that simple. All day this Friday, your ride is on us. Now let's hear a few words from our Salt Lake City County Mayor, Ben McAdams.
Well, thank you, Stan. Thank you, Salt Lake City. It's great to be standing with you today for this announcement of Free Fare Friday. I know that it can be frustrating, sometimes scary or intimidating if you're in one of the sensitive groups to see these wintertime air pollution events occur. Nobody loves our inversions. I'm particularly frustrated when my kids tell me that they stay indoors from recess due to smog alerts. In fact, just last week, my kids love to walk home from school, and they were talking about how they didn't want to walk home from school. They had to ride the bus because they were concerned about the air. That's not good. With as much as we try to get our kids out and to get them active, to then send the message that they can't be outside and they can't be active because of the air is not a good thing. I also don't like it when visitors come to Salt Lake and they can't see our snow-capped mountains and our blue skies. This happened recently as well. We've known for years that the primary pollutant is PM 2.5, tiny particulate matter that is emitted from burning fuel. Vehicles account for 57% of our air pollution. That's the gasoline-powered cars, and that's the trucks that most of us drive on our daily commutes. So it makes sense that fewer numbers of those vehicles on our streets each and every day during an inversion will mean less pollution in the air that we breathe. So that's why we're here today to talk about encouraging people to use transit. If more of us are able to leave our cars behind at home and to take a train instead, we can make a difference in lowering the pollution that's in the air that we breathe. So I want to thank Salt Lake City Council Chair Stan Penfold and the City Council for taking the initiative to bring us together to sponsor free fares on Friday, not just for residents of Salt Lake City and Salt Lake County, but for everyone in UTA's 6-county transit district. Supporting transit service beyond voter-approved sales tax and levies is not something that local government typically does. But we do think differently as we grapple with this air quality and looking for every solution we can identify to improve our air and to improve the air that we breathe. Efforts like this we think can contribute to the long-term, multifaceted strategy that we need to address this challenge, including government agencies, businesses, and associations like the Salt Lake Chamber of Commerce and groups like UCare. So today's announcement may just be for one day of free fare. And a lot of people may ask, I'll acknowledge that one day of free fare is not going to improve our air overnight. But what we're hoping will happen is people have the conversations like I was having with my kids this morning as I was telling them about the press conference that we were doing and the announcement, and that Friday is going to be free transit day. So I start my day every morning driving my kids to school. And we're talking about Friday. We're gonna take transit. We're gonna figure out the train schedule, the bus schedule, what it takes to get them to school, and then for me to get to work, and then home, and how we're gonna get home together. And what you hope is that this free fare day will entice people to figure out the train schedules, figure out how to get out of their car and use transit, and that while this first day is free, that they'll figure out that they will actually save money, and it's convenient and a pleasant way to get to work, so that it will start in changing habits as people get out of their cars and start using the mass transit system to get to and from work or to school or wherever they may be going for the day, that this will be a catalyst for them to start to change behavior and find out that it's actually pretty easy and pretty pleasant to do. It just takes that first try, and once you've done it, it's so much easier to do it from there. So thank you again. I want to introduce now Jerry Benson with UTA. Jerry.
Thanks, Mayor.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. On behalf of everyone at Utah Transit Authority, I want to thank Mayor McAdams, the Salt Lake City Council, and especially Council Chairman Stan Penfold for his determination to make this event happen. One of the most frequent questions I get asked, especially this time of year, is why doesn't UTA reduce or eliminate fares on red air days? and to do the same during the ozone inversions of the summer. It's a great idea, and we'd love to make it happen. And while it's a worthwhile goal to do everything we can to prevent rare red air days and no or lower fares during inversions would be a valuable part of that effort, UTA uses fare revenue to pay for service, and so it's hard for us to do on our own. Efforts like this, though, show that where there's a will, there's a way. And the truth is, we have no choice but to keep finding ways to reduce vehicle emissions and particulates that they pump into the air. Newer cars and cleaner fuels will help lower emissions over time, but with the addition of another 2 million residents in this area in the coming decades, we could outweigh those improvements, leaving our children and grandchildren with air quality that's still unacceptable. I'm an optimist, though, and a strong believer that advances in technology and innovative partnerships like this one can help make big improvements in air quality. I'm really grateful to see our government leaders dedicating their resources to efforts like this, and I'm grateful to our business leaders like the Salt Lake Chamber and their Zero Red Air Day initiative that they launched last week. All of us here today know that underwriting fares for just one day won't fix bad air, but it's an important gesture that highlights the issue and ways that we can address it. It's one we'd like to see emulated by others. UTA's mission is to move people from place to place as efficiently and conveniently as possible, and to make our community as sustainable and prosperous as it can be. But we can't do it alone. Partnerships like this are critical to making a difference, and we're proud to work shoulder to shoulder with visionary leaders to help clear our air. Thank you.
Thank you, Jerry, and thank you, Ben. They were very kind to thank me, but they are very bruised from all the arm twisting that I've been doing this week and the last week. I'd like to echo Jerry's comments about being asked, why can't transit be free of charge when our air outside is so horrible? It's one of the most frequent questions I'm asked, and I think I would expect that that's a question that most public officials along the Wasatch Front hear very frequently when our air quality is bad. And I think it's going to take all of us to figure out really unique, innovative, and creative opportunities and partnerships to really start having an impact on our air quality. I am also pleased that the Chamber is leading the business community in an initiative toward having zero red air days. And I'd like to see the idea of sponsored transit fares during inversions included in one of those toolboxes that perhaps they're using. The reality is this, that the gestures like this one, the Salt Lake City Council, the Mayor McAdams' office, UTA, making one-off opportunities to use transit is not going to make a difference. It's going to require all of us to truly be committed to finding new ways to solve our air quality concerns. We must challenge everyone. We must challenge our state government and our local governments, our businesses, our nonprofits, our residents, and others to step up and do even more to provide the options that people need, like Free Fare Friday, to make transit a reliable, convenient, and affordable part of the solution. And it's what we need to do if we all want to breathe easier. Thank you all. We'll take a few questions, and then I want you to know that all of these elected officials are available for some individual comments. Any questions? Yes?
Is there any plan to make Free Fare Friday possibly a monthly thing?
In my head, yes, there are lots of plans like that. No, one of the things that has evolved as we've had this conversation, and one of the challenges we faced is that there were some technical issues that we needed to resolve. And actually, I think this is going to be a great opportunity to work through some of those. I don't think people comprehend what a challenge it is for UTA to shut down all their fare boxes for a day and to not have people tap on and tap off so they don't get charged on a prepaid card. So we're learning a lot in this process, and I'm hoping that we have future partners that come together. I wish you could see the Capitol from here. I'm just an observation I have right now that popped into my head. It would be nice to see the Capitol. But some sort of funding mechanism or partnership mechanism that could truly be reliable when we come to having options on a red air or even an orange air day.
Do you know who's going to absorb the cost of Free Fare Friday?
I'm sorry. The question is, who might absorb the cost of a free fare for this Free Fare Friday? This is a split between the Salt Lake City Council, the Salt Lake County Mayor's Office, and UTA. Those three entities are funding all of the fares for Friday for this one-time event. Another question, Bill.
70,000 is the cost. How many fares is that?
Oh boy, we'll have to ask Jerry to answer that one.
So the 70,000 figure is the average weekday cash fare that's paid. So people who have passes through their employer or universities, we're not counting those. So over the course of a day, there are about 160,000 boardings in the system, and about a quarter of those roughly are paying cash on the day.
It's not total ridership for that.
No,
day.
no.
It's collections at the fare box. Any other questions?
So Jerry, tell us what it's like to shut down the fare box and what that kind of effort is.
Well, there's a lot of effort to make sure all of our employees know that this is the deal for the day, and then we expect some real big ridership in the off-peak. So on a free fare day, commuters do their normal thing, but this is an opportunity for people to come out, bring their families, come downtown, enjoy the holidays. So we're gearing up for much more ridership in the late afternoon, evenings of the Free Fare Friday.
And telling all the staffers, hey, don't, or then UTA police, don't go ticketing these people, don't bust them. It's okay to be free today.
Right, that word is going out right now, and we'll do our best to make sure everybody knows what the deal is.
Thank you so very much for being here. Our elected officials will be staying for a little bit. We're happy to do some one-on-one interviews, so thank you for your time.